Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study night, the 19th of February 2026. Okay, our topic for the discussion tonight we'll be listening to the real reason the U.S. troops are deployed in Niger. We're going to look at that and talk about it, rightly divide it. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, Israel Wake Up, check out our videos. We have 200 or so videos you can look at. Israel Wake Up is a sister channel to Prophets of Awakening. Okay, for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. We don't subscribe to the New Testament, Jesus, apostles. This channel was created to aid and assist our Hebrews who are waking up in these last days, their true identity, and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, songs. We have our Women's Health Moment with Michelle, current events, some need to know information. Then we open it up for anybody with questions, any comments, dialogue, testimony. And then we go to our topic for discussion, which is uh, Trump explodes in a racist tirade at Black History Month event. Okay, then we go to our main topic. Like I said, we'll be dealing with the real reason that the U.S. troops are deployed in the Niger. Then we'll pick a scripture like we normally do, break that scripture down, then we'll close out. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we pray unto the Lord our God. We make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee, to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries where thou hast driven us, but because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. O Lord, hear our prayer, cause thy face to shine upon all thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open your eyes and incline your ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not for thy own sake, for your people and the land need you so desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, so we'll read the Psalms. Okay,
Shalom, everyone. Shalom, Brother Leonard. Psalms 38. O Lord, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand presseth me sore. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thy anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. For my iniquities are gone over my head, as an heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. Verse 5, my wounds sank and are corrupt. Excuse me. My wounds sank and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled. I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long, for my loins are filled with a loathsome disease, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared my reason of the disquietness of my heart. Verse 9, Lord, all my desire is before thee, and my groaning is not hid from thee. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of my eyes, it also is gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar off. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. But I, as a deaf man, heard not, and I was as a dumb man that opened not his mouth. Thus I was as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproofs. For in thee, O Lord, do I hope. Thou wilt hear, O Lord my God. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slippeth, they magnify themselves against me. Verse 17, for I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. For I will declare my iniquity, I will be sorry for my sin. But my enemies are lively and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully are multiplied. They also that render evil for good are my adversaries, because I follow the thing that good is. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God. Be not far from me. Make haste to me, O Lord, my salvation. That was Psalms 38. Shalom.
Okay. Got any feedback on that?
Well, I just actually wanted you to give the feedback on that because I really didn't. Is this David saying this?
Yes. Yeah. From my
Okay,
understanding, yeah. Right.
okay.
Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go to our women's health moment with Michelle.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information provided is intended solely for general, informational, and educational purposes and should not be considered as medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on the health benefits of rosemary. Rosemary is well known for its delicious taste, perfect for soups, roasted potatoes, or as a seasoning for chicken, but its uses extend beyond flavor. This herb and its oil also offer potential health benefits. Rosemary belongs to the mint family, which includes other herbs like oregano, thyme, basil, and lavender. You can use it as a culinary condiment, make hair growth oil with it, or enjoy its health promoting qualities. Typically, rosemary is consumed as a dried herb or powdered extracts, while teas and liquid extracts are made from either fresh or dried leaves. Since ancient times, rosemary has been celebrated for its medicinal properties. Some amazing health benefits of rosemary include supporting immune health. The immune system, along with every other bodily system, works most effectively when given adequate nutrients. Rosemary contains abundant antioxidants and anti inflammatory compounds that can help enhance immune function and improve the circulation of infection fighting substance throughout the body, preventing indigestion, promoting the skin, and nourishing the hair. Rosemary may stimulate free blood flow to the skin and help in the management of conditions such as eczema and even fungal infections, thanks to its antiseptic properties. Rosemary has also been used to support healthy hair growth and prevent hair conditions like alopecia, providing protection to the brain and enhancing concentration, supporting respiratory health. Regular use can safeguard the lungs by preventing fluid buildup and assisting clearing film and excess mucus from the respiratory tract. Rosemary is also known to help alleviate pain and may be used to manage discomfort associated with menstrual cramps and stomach aches. Rosemary is a powerful source of antioxidants that promote overall health. It ranks among the herbs with the highest antioxidant levels. Tonight, I will be reading from the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verses 10 through 12. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee. Verse 12, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh froward things. Tonight's discussion was on the health benefits of rosemary, and I read from the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verses 10 through 12. Shalom, everyone.
Okay. Appreciate that information. Okay. We're gonna go to our current events. We'll play each one, and we'll get some feedback. Any comments? Okay, we go to this first one. I thought was pretty interesting.
Hello, it's your friend CJ Werleman, and in this episode, we reveal why a growing and strengthening alliance between Muslim-majority countries is reshaping the Middle East and presenting the State of Israel with an unprecedented existential threat. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show and ensure your notifications are turned on so you never miss a single episode. Now let's get into it. The idea of a collective security alliance that huddles together Muslim-majority countries under a binding collective defense obligation akin to what Europeans and Americans enjoy under NATO has been kicked around for years, mostly because the potential strategic benefits are obvious, given it would include a combination of Saudi money, Turkish technology, and Pakistani nukes, therefore constituting a triumvirate of military, economic, and technological firepower against the number one threat to peace and security in the Muslim world, the State of Israel. A stark reality given the Zionist military bombed and or invaded 9 Muslim-majority countries during the last year alone.
Israel has attacked more countries than any other country this year. Over 10,600 attacks on 6 countries and 3 territorial waters. These maps show where those attacks took place.
When Israel isn't bombing or invading Muslim countries unprovoked, then it's violating ceasefire agreements with its neighbors, having violated its ceasefire with Gaza by bombing it more than 1,000 times in 80 days, adding thousands of more civilians to a death toll that has already surpassed hundreds of thousands. A similar story can be told in Lebanon, proving yet again that Israel can never be trusted under any circumstances, especially when it's even willing to deceive and dupe its number one ally and benefactor. It rebuilds the Syrian army to help the new Syrian government resist and deter Israeli attacks and incursions. This newly emerged Islamic NATO is more than just words on paper. It has already expanded military interaction, training coordination, and defense industrial cooperation. More importantly, it provides each of these 3 countries the space to step out from underneath America's shadow by allowing each nation individually or collectively to take action against Israel without threats of US sanctions or restrictions.
Okay, anybody got anything on that? It's Islamic NATO. Does it ring a bell? Okay, yeah, I'm always talking about that on this channel about Albert Pike, and he's got this book he wrote a long time ago called Morals and Dogma, and what it is he predicted 3 world wars going to happen before the end of the world, and we already had 2, and he said the last one, World War III, was going to be between the Muslims and the Christians. And so looking at this right here, you got a NATO, the Europeans, the Anglo-Saxons got a NATO they had for years, but now the Islamic people got a NATO. So everybody is gearing up for war, and they making their sides. And this is what we look like right here. We're looking right at it, what they setting up, what he predicted a long time ago. And he's a Satanist. He's summoning wicked spirits and all that. So, yeah. Anybody know Albert Pike?
Shalom, I heard you talk about him, so, but I haven't been hearing any other people talk about him.
Okay.
Shalom. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, Brother Leonard. Yes, sir. I've heard of Albert Pike and the plan that he made, or not the plan, but the plan, and then also him saying, "Hey, this is." Really? Other people basically agreeing with it and following it through ever since he's put that letter in writing.
Right. Yeah, I was saying and like I said, the crazy part about it is we looking right at it unfold, just like we did, like I said about the money. what they have on the money. They got to, you can't deny it. They had the Oklahoma City bombing on the money. They had 9/11 on the money, and now they have this water event. Well, tsunami going to flood the East Coast. That's on the money. So you can cool believe me, it's going to happen. Same way with this. This was written hundreds of years ago, maybe over 100 or so years ago, by Satanists. Okay. So with that being said, it is right here.
Military experts are saying that the United States could strike Iran as early as this weekend. Now, the American people are not going to feel the effects of the missile strikes. We're not going to feel the strike itself, but we will feel some pain when it comes to the stock market, when it comes to grocery prices, energy costs, and even things like cybersecurity. Today, we're going to go over what the United States is likely going to do, what Iran is currently doing, and what you should be doing to prepare for this potential attack. Keep in mind that you are at risk as well, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But if you enjoy videos like this, go ahead, hit that like button, and now, according to multiple White House aides, what has been leaked is information that President Trump and his administration wanted leaked. That yes, the United States could strike Iran this weekend. Well, look what Iran is doing. Okay, I want to show you some images. It says satellite images show Iran repairing and fortifying sites amid U.S. tensions. It shows down here. Okay, I want to show you this. Satellite images show that Iran has recently built a concrete shield over a new facility at a sensitive military site and covered it with soil, according to experts. Said advancing work at the location reportedly bombed by Israel in 2024 amid tensions with the United States. Says images also show that Iran has buried tunnel entrances at a nuclear site bombed by the U.S. during Israel's 12-day war with Iran last year, fortified tunnel entrances near another, and has repaired missile base struck in the conflict. Okay, so we're seeing that. There's some other images right here. You can kind of see it. Okay, it says satellite images have shown that Iran has built a concrete shield over the new facility. Okay, you can kind of see these images up here. Now, why am I showing you this? This is what the United States didn't want. The United States wanted Iran to pretty much back down and agree that they would not possess any nuclear weapons. They haven't done that. So what are the concerns right now, and what should the American people be doing? Well, everybody's talking about oil prices are going to spike. Okay, cybersecurity is going to become an issue, and I talked about this yesterday as well, where the FBI is saying that yes, this is a concern, and this is one of the reasons why they are putting together this additional kind of task force. Now, here's what's very unlikely. We are not going to experience a shortage of food. We are not going to experience a shortage of oil. Energy is still going to be something that we have. Okay, we have access to it. It could go up in price, but again, we still have access to it. What is most likely not going to happen, just to give you an idea, because I know there's people spreading these rumors that the United States is going to be under attack. The United States, in probably 99.999% of the time, is not going to feel a strike from Iran into the U.S. But this one thing is what they are likely going to forget: cybersecurity. I've been talking about that for the past couple of days. This is where experts say we are vulnerable. This is what experts are telling us. Iran has a history of cyber operations against the United States, especially against our businesses and our infrastructure. So what experts say we need to do
update our passwords. If you have the same passwords from 2020, go and update your password. Go and create a new one, okay, that only you know. Go do that, because again, if your passwords and your information has been leaked, it is out there. What you don't want at this time to happen is you don't go buy food, you don't go fill up your gas tank, and then on top of that, your money is pretty much stolen from your bank account. Today, just because they are a little bit oversold, but at the same time, it could get cheaper. These stocks could get hit. We could see them drop another, 5 to 7%. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So one of the things that we were talking about was, should he be selling all of his portfolio to prevent himself from getting hit if the United States does attack Iran? I said, well, again, this isn't financial advice, but what people are going to do is they're going to trade based off emotion. And they see, oh, everything's going down, okay, I need to sell. But again, according to experts in the White House as well, that this is potentially a weeks-long event where the United States is going to attack Iran, but they don't have a lot of stuff to attack. It's very confined.
Okay. Any feedback on that? What you think? Think we need to be worried?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Shalom, everyone. So many of us remember that many years ago, these elites started building things, specifically like what they're mentioning is happening per the drones they're sending out over Iran. We should expect at some point for something to happen, whether it's with Iran or not, only because the elites know it's happening and they're trying to protect themselves. I do find this clip in a clip you played earlier. It may have been last night when I could not join. My computer was acting crazy, but I find the clips about trying to get Iran to disarm and, like you said, neutralize, get their leaders out of there so things can go crazy and there won't really be anybody controlling and leading them. It's interesting because during Obama's, I don't know which term, first or second, I think it was a second, he started that New START plan with Russia. And Putin was not in the position he was in when it started. And as Obama was exiting his last term, somebody else showed up, which was Putin. And Putin was just anti-American. And it just didn't make sense about how America and Russia were getting along under Obama. However, right before the New START plan stopped, which is an agreement for Russia and the United States to not use their nuclear weapons, and that they can and will keep basically tabs on each other. So since it ended, right now, Russia and America are not keeping tabs on each other. But one thing Putin said he wanted to do was to go ahead and just reinitiate or extend the New START program. And it's interesting because one thing that I keep hearing on these channels you have, Brother Leonard, is that America really is trying to start a war somewhere, but they know where they want to start it. And it is interesting that I guess President Trump doesn't want to keep tabs on nuclear weapons, and he wants America to be able to do whatever they can do. But he's also trying to tell Iran, you need to get rid of yours. Meanwhile, there's nobody keeping tabs on what America's doing anymore. We can build all we can build now. As of this year, we can build all we want to build because that New START plan ended and Trump refused to restart it. So nobody's keeping tabs on our nuclear anything. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see if this administration in the United States of America is going to go into Iran and pull out all of their leaders, or the most important one to lead any type of military action over there.
Exactly. Yeah. So like he said, this weekend, and I'm willing to put money on that. They, like I said, when you understand where they at, their objectives, they really don't have no other choice. And so with everything going on with the Sahel and with Russia and all these other events going on, they slowly closing in on the United States. So they have to act. That's why you see all this aggression from them. Okay, so I'm gonna play this right here. This is the need to know information. And do anybody else have anything on that?
Shalom, everyone. Would you think that be part of this midterm elections coming up, when a president does something that could help the U.S. in any kind of way? Some voters just jump on that side for one thing and not all things. Shalom.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to a couple of videos over the last couple of weeks, and it dawned on me about what happened in Burkina Faso. That was a coup d'état. That was a coup d'état in Niger, and it's a coup d'état, whatever they call it, in Mali. So that's what it dawned on me that Project 2025 is a coup d'état, and so it's going to come to a head before the midterm. That's just me. That's me. That's me. I'm looking at it because when you look at everything they've done, it's not like they trying to be reelected because they ain't did nothing for the people to reelect them. So I'm looking, when you look at this and all that they're doing, I think they got a coup. They got something where they're gonna try to seize the government for the
Shalom.
midterm.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm thinking too. Yes,
That's
sir.
what I was looking at. Oh yeah. So check this out. I thought this was real interesting.
The year is 1624. The location is a jagged strip of coast.
This the new propaganda machine right here. This is AI. The name of it is Why Black Americans Never Expected This 400-year promise. But check out where she go.
Coastline in West Africa, where the Atlantic Ocean crashes against the shore with the rhythm of a heartbeat. A wooden ship sits on the horizon, its silhouette dark and foreboding against the setting sun. On the beach, the air is thick with the scent of salt and the heavy, suffocating weight of iron. A woman is being dragged toward the water. Chains cut into her wrists, binding her to a destiny of unimaginable sorrow. But as the soil of her homeland slips from beneath her feet, she does not scream. She does not beg. She whispers. It is a whisper so quiet it is almost lost to the wind, yet so powerful it will outlive the empire that enslaved her. She looks back at the man standing helplessly on the dunes, and she makes a vow, not a prayer, a promise. We will find each other again. At that exact moment, her brother, standing in the shadow of a massive baobab tree, watches.
We saw the same thing with Obama, how they blowed him up. Okay, check
the
this
ship
out.
vanish into the gray mist. With a trembling hand, he takes a stone and carves those same words into the bark of the ancient tree, a tree that against all odds still stands today. For 400 years, that promise has echoed across the ocean. It was whispered by dying mothers to their children in the cotton fields of Alabama. It was carved into the hidden places of the soul by Africans who refused to forget. It passed through 12 generations, surviving the whip, the segregation laws, and the engineered silence of history. It was a dormant seed waiting for the right season, the right soil, and the right hands to wake it up. Stay with us. This is more than a headline. It is a hinge in history. If this story resonates, show your support with a like, a comment, or a subscription. It means more than numbers. It keeps the story alive. And today that promise is being fulfilled, but it is not happening in the way the history books predicted. It is not being fulfilled by the United Nations. It is not being fulfilled by a handshake between diplomats in air-conditioned conference rooms in Geneva or New York. It is being fulfilled.
Yeah, remember they just resurrected the Black Star Line, Marcus Garvey, right? So
by a man who scares the established order simply by existing. His name is Captain Ibrahim Traore.
He is 36 years old. He leads Burkina Faso. But pause for a moment and really look at the man. You do not see the Italian silk suits that have characterized African leadership for decades. You do not see the polished cufflinks or the diplomatic smile that hides compromise. You see a red beret. You see military fatigues that still carry the dust of the Sahel. You see a man who speaks not in the flowery, evasive language of international politics, but in the direct, piercing language of the soil. To the Western observer, he is a paradox. They ask, how can a soldier be a humanist? How can a man with a gun preach a message of such profound love? But to those who know history, especially those of you who remember the fires of the 1960s, who remember the strength of Malcolm and the vision of Sankara, he is not a paradox. He is a reminder. He represents a return to a leadership that does not ask for permission to exist. He is the embodiment of a reality that the geopolitical experts failed to calculate, that eventually the sons of the soil would stop negotiating for their dignity and simply take it back. This is the man who stood up and decided to deliver a message that is 400 years overdue. He warned the world that this would not be a speech about politics. It would be a family meeting, a summons. But to deliver it, he had to confront a reality that was far more dangerous than any battlefield he had ever walked upon. He had to confront the silence. Let me take you back to the night the silence broke. The date was May 27, 2020. The world was in lockdown, but the streets of Minneapolis were burning. The name George Floyd was echoing off the concrete walls of American cities, a tragic chorus of grief and rage. Thousands of miles away in a quiet office in Ouagadougou, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat alone, illuminated only by the blue light of a screen. He was surrounded by threats, French military forces breathing down his neck, terrorist insurgents attacking his villages, his own life hanging by a thread every single day. But that night, he was not thinking about the enemy at the gate. He was watching a video of a Black woman in Atlanta screaming at a line of police officers. Her voice cracked with centuries of exhaustion as she shouted, "We built this country. We bled for this country. And you still treat us like we are nothing." In that moment, something inside the young captain shattered. He did not see a foreigner. He did not see a citizen of a distant superpower. He saw his sister, not metaphorically, not symbolically. He saw his actual flesh and blood separated by an ocean and 400 years of lives fighting the exact same battle he was fighting in the Sahel.
So if you don't think no ships ain't coming before this, then something wrong.
The battle to be seen as human, the battle to control one's own destiny.
Setting it up.
And in the silence of that office, he realized that the separation was ending. He picked up the phone and dialed a number that did not lead to a ministry or a general, but to a small village on the edge of the savannah. He called the oldest person he knew. Her name is Mama Fatou. She is 94 years old. She is a living library holding stories that have been passed down in whispers through 12 generation stories that were never written in the colonial textbooks. He asked her a single haunting question. "Mama, when they took our people across the ocean, did we ever stop looking for them?" The line went silent.
Check it out.
It was the kind of silence that stretches back through centuries. Then she spoke words that made the young captain's blood run cold. "Child," she said, "every full moon for 400 years, the elders gather at the coast and light fires. We do not light them for warmth. We light them so our stolen children can find their way home in the dark. We never stopped believing they would return. We never stopped waiting." That was the moment the tectonic plates of history shifted. Traoré understood that the separation between the African continent and Black America was not merely a tragedy of geography. It was an architecture of control. It was engineered. It was maintained. It was enforced by people who understood a terrifying truth: if the resources of Africa ever truly reconnected with the resilience and ingenuity of the diaspora, the current global power structure would crumble overnight. Let us take a moment here not to rush forward, but to give thanks. Write a comment with a simple thank you to Traoré, to the elders like Mama Fatou, or to the spirit of sovereignty itself. Gratitude is not a formality. It is recognition. It is dignity expressed in words. When you add your voice of thanks, you are not just engaging with a video, you are standing in solidarity with a story of freedom and pride. So before we continue, take this pause to comment your thank you. Together, those words become a beacon that shines far beyond the screen. This realization strikes a particular chord with those of you watching who have lived through the long arc of the 20th century. Knowledge, Traoré decided to do something that no African leader had ever attempted before. He did not launch a diplomatic mission. He did not appeal to the World Bank. He decided to bypass the gatekeepers entirely. 3 months later, a physical confirmation arrived that proved he was on the right path. It came in the form of a simple envelope with an American stamp. Inside was a 14-page letter from a woman named Dr. Jasmine Carter, a neuroscientist from Houston, Texas. Dr. Carter had not just wondered about her roots. She had pursued them with the precision of a scientist and the desperation of an orphan. She had spent $15,000 over 5 years tracing her DNA through tangled archives and faded records. She had traced her lineage back to a specific village just 47 kilometers from where Traoré was sitting. She had found the exact compound where her great-great-great-grandmother was born. She had found the family name. She had found everything except the one thing that mattered most. She wrote, President Traoré, I know exactly where I come from. I can see my ancestral home on satellite maps. I know the names of relatives I have never met, but I do not know how to knock on that door. I do not know if they will recognize me. I do not know if 400 years of separation has made me too American to be African or too African to ever be fully American. I do not know if I am welcome anywhere. Traoré read that letter 23 times. Each time he felt a rising tide of overwhelming rage, not at Dr. Carter, not at her family in Texas or her relatives in Burkina Faso, but at the invisible walls that had convinced a brilliant Black woman, someone who had literally mapped her own genetic code, that she might be a stranger in her own home. That night, he reached for the telephone again. He did not call his advisors. He dialed a number in Houston, Texas. It was 11 p.m. her time, and when she answered, he prepared to say the words that would shatter the silence forever. He said, Dr. Carter, this is Ibrahim Traoré. I read your letter and I need to tell you something fundamental. You are not lost. You are stolen. There is a profound difference. Lost things might never be found. They are simply misplaced by time. But stolen things, we never stop searching for them. We have been searching for you for 400 years. And now that we have found you, do you really think we are going to let you feel like a stranger? For 20 minutes, the only sound on the line was weeping. When she finally found her voice, she said something that cuts to the core of the Black experience in the West. Nobody has ever made me feel like my Blackness was enough. In America, I am always too Black or not Black enough, too successful to understand the struggle or too struggling to deserve success. But you, a man I have never met from a country I have never visited, you just made me feel whole for the first time in my life. That conversation lasted 4 hours. By the end of it, Traoré had made a decision that would change the trajectory of his presidency and potentially the continent. Before we reveal the next chapter, which is perhaps the most powerful assertion of sovereignty you will ever hear, I want to pause and speak directly to you. If this channel has moved highly accomplished African Americans, these were people who had succeeded in America but felt exhausted by the constant battle to be recognized. And then he did something that made certain powerful people in Paris and Washington very, very nervous. He brought 50 of them together for a virtual summit. It was scheduled to last 2 hours. It lasted 11. He opened the meeting with a simple question. What would you build if you didn't have to ask permission? The room went silent. For most of them, nobody had ever asked them that question before. They had spent their entire lives proving they were good enough. Nobody had ever just assumed they were excellent and asked them what they wanted to do with that power. Then Marcus Chen stood up. Marcus is a software architect who built critical infrastructure for 3 Fortune 500 companies. He said, for 15 years, I have been the only Black person in every room I enter. I have been excellent. I have been exceptional. And you know what I am tired? I am tired of being exceptional, because exceptional means you are an exception to the rule. I don't want to be an exception anymore. I want to be normal. I want to be excellent in a room full of excellent Black people where nobody is surprised by our success.
Okay, so what you think? Sound like ships to me. Anybody got any feedback? Setup. They coming sooner than later. Okay, yeah, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Brother Leonard. So recently you've been playing clips and saying things that just resonate a lot with things I've been reading, looking at, or just thinking. So a couple things about this clip. What are your thoughts about, like, in the story that's being told here, your thoughts about the good fig and the bad fig? So she knows she has DNA that is very similar to a specific tribe and even specific people in a specific place, but they are over there. Does that mean that there are still some people from Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, or does it just mean that those people over there have Israelite DNA that she has? And that's just not because of the story, but that's how I am. So when I trace my DNA back, it traces back to Igbos that are in Nigeria. It's a specific group that actually still follow 8-day circumcision and all those other things. So while they may say, oh, I'm from the tribe of Gad, does that mean I'm from the tribe of Gad because that's what they're claiming or that they believe? Could Judah and Levi and Benjamin tribes still have people in West Africa, or did all of them leave?
Yeah. Well, me looking at that, I mean, it would be the majority of them, because when they fled out of Israel, when the Antioch Epiphanes came in 143 BC, they operate by tribes. So I would say that they why would a Judean or a Levite or a Benjamite, they all their people leaving and going into Africa? Why would anyone say? So I'm thinking that because of who they are, they tribal thing, they move together. But we also know that not all of them was captured and brought over here. There had to be some, but the majority of them, like when you say Igbo, the majority of those Igbos, if they from a certain tribe, the majority of them is. You have a little bitty remnants, but the majority of them, just like with the transatlantic slave trade, the prophecy was the head. The head was responsible for Israel going away from the Lord. So the head was the one that was brought here. When you go to the West Coast and the whole story about that, you got the Benjamin, you had Judah and the Levites, the Haitians. They were brought over here, the majority of them. But also, we know that because of we know they are people of color, a lot of Africans were brought here too, along with them. But the majority of those people was a certain tribe. But we know we got other people mixed all in there too. But like I say, when you look at it according to their customs and their laws, the majority of them was in a certain place. And that's how that went down. But you can, like I said, when you start doing the tracing DNA, you're tracing yourself back to a majority of a tribe, not necessarily all of them. So, yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Thank you.
Right.
Shalom.
Is anybody else? And like I said, there's a prophecy that he said the head was going to come here. And then he made another prophecy. Zechariah, he's going to wake Judah up first. So when you look at what I'm saying, he's dealing with tribes. So to stay in a certain place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, so anybody else got anything on that? So what I'm gonna do is play this. I'm gonna post this tomorrow, or either tonight on our new on our messenger, and because you gotta watch, you gotta see it and watch how they set this up. Because like I said, this is they just them in operations. All this stuff is they got a plan. It's all this is. It's not about. Well, you can say that, but it's not really about the good thing and bad thing, because these people, this all is, to me, looking at it the same way they brought Obama on the scene, and the way they use him, the same thing they're doing now. They got a hidden agenda for things they're doing right now. Believe that, okay? But it's going right along with they being manipulated by the Lord of hosts. They trying to manipulate us, but they being manipulated. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay, so we're gonna open it up for some need to know information. I mean, for some questions and comments, any dialogue or testimony. Anybody got anything they want to shine a light on? Anything they want to talk about?
Shalom, shalom, everyone. So we were speaking on about the DNA. So the 10 tribes that's out there that they say they don't know what happened to them, could they be part of the mixed multitude of people who came here um, to America also?
Right. Yeah. When the slave traders, they was grabbing anybody. Like I say, people of color. They was grabbing African tribes, anybody. They was going to those villages, raiding villages, catching people that was off by themselves, families, and grabbing. They was grabbing anybody. So, but it was, the prophecy was for the majority of it was Israelites. The Most High prophecy was being fulfilled, but these people was grabbing anybody of color. They were grabbing it, and so, like I said, in the midst of that, a lot of people was being grabbed and scooped up there, uh, just because they was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Brother Leonard, so when the face of Israelites are not black, they have no melanin in them. So that by them saying they're Hebrew Israelite Jews, or because they're from Israel, they're in Israel. So how would that make a turn for the ones who are coming into the truth, seeing that everyone's speaking about Africa and not Israel? Come back to your homeland, which is Africa, which the people who have been brought from Africa was sent to the west coast of Africa, but they were not natives of that land. Would that be something that the people now that's trying to get back to Africa, their homeland, their DNA shows that they were not from Africa and their ancestors were from Israel?
Well, I've heard people saying that, but to me, it don't make no sense, because when you start looking at how everything happened and where we came from, whether like for example, it's a complicated story, and they made it complicated, but the people that's on the west coast of Africa, all those kingdoms they talk about, they came out of Israel. When you go back to and look at history before, the history of Africa was on the Nile River. It was never really nobody over in the west coast of Africa. So, and then when the Israelites or prophecy overtook them, that was prophesied to them by Gabriel when he's talking to Daniel, they fled to a place where no man was at. That's why they went to the west coast, because of their culture. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to be around and mingle with nobody else. So they all fled over to the west coast of Africa. That's all that history over there. That's Israelite history. And then the prophecy that the Most High spoke of, that we were going to be taken away in ships, it overtook us on the west coast. And we were brought here. And and the prophecy was steady going on, because he said he's going to be scattered to all four corners of the earth. Well, like I said, with Mansa Musa, his predecessor before him, he came here with 200 and some ships. Them Israelites. So all that stuff is all, when you go back and you rightly divide it, you can see that, yeah. It wasn't no the people. It's just like you look at Israelites today, you can tell the difference. If you've been doing this work and studying, you can see the difference you can see the difference in the Israelite and the African. You can see the difference in the so-called indigenous person from over here and the Israelite. You can see the difference. So yeah.
Shalom, well, just one more thing. So when Master Musa brought those ships over, that was way before Columbus called himself discovering America. So those people that were there, and said, some says, my ancestors were never slaves, meaning that the Israelites was living here way longer than the indigenous people or the European people. Would that be something
When
you
they
would
came
say?
here, they came and they intermingled with the indigenous people that were already here. And those are people, like I was saying, when you do the research, these some people called the Folsom people. They had melanin in them, but they intermingle with the people that came through the Barren Strait. That's the reason they hair straight. They got the stringy hair like the European and like the Chinese. There was some Chinese people. They was over Mongoloid. They came across the Barren Strait. They intermingle with the people they call the Folsom people. That's how you get the people that was already here, that they saying copper colored people. Then Abu Bakr, what's his name, predecessor, came with all those ships, and then they want you to think that they were sucked up in the Atlantic and they all drowned, but they got all the evidence. They find all these artifacts from the Mali Empire, because he had all these ships loaded down with all kind of stuff from Mali Empire, and they found it since they've been over here, that they introduced to the people that was already here, indigenous people. And then they had villages built exactly like the ones that was in Mali over here. So they can't say that they want you to think they got caught up in the Atlantic and drowned, because it's gonna kill the story of the lie they telling about Columbus. Those people from the Mali Empire was like the lady just said with Tori, how excellent she is, and she just want to be around a bunch of excellent black people without nobody shine a light on. They was expert navigators. They didn't have no problem with the ocean. They came right over here, and they came here and they had villages, Mali villages all over America, over that a certain part of America. And those people shared their knowledge, because the Israelites, like he told, like Nebuchadnezzar said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was 10 times wiser than any African that he had ever seen, any man he had ever came across. The Africans, the Israelites, are 10 times wiser and more apt. So they came over here and they shared all that information, all those skills with the people that was here. But they don't want you to know that. So that's how they go. Like they saying the 10 lost tribes. The 10 tribes ain't lost. I showed that in when Cyrus came. We had Judah, Benjamin, Levi in Sushan, where Nebuchadnezzar took them, but the Assyrian king took the 10 tribes Assyria. It was a province of Syria. Cyrus controlled 172 provinces. The one where the southern kingdom was at, and he controlled the one that where the northern kingdom was at. Nobody lost. And then he told all of them, you can go back if you want. So that's all. This is that's propaganda, like what we just listened to. They got plans.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody else got anything? Anybody got any other question?
Yes, sir. Shalom. Just a little discussion on Brother Leonard. What do you think about the ex-Prince Andrew being arrested on his 66th birthday? From what they were saying for misconduct of a public officer and sharing government information with Epstein, right? And King Charles was saying that he think his brother needs to face justice. So I just wanted to know what you thought about that, and do you think that that's going to become a domino effect? Because over here, no one has been arrested. With all the videos that's out there, all of the evidence that's out there, nothing has been done to anyone, and it was just surprising, this late in the game that he was arrested, and I'm speaking of Andrew.
Okay, yeah. To me, I think that, like I said, everything is about what these people been playing. Is to go back to the morals and dogma with Albert Pike. The reason why the Third World War is between the Muslims and the Christians is they want to cancel each other out. Then, like I said, Pax Judea, because these Edomites want to come in. It's all about this temple. So what we're looking at now, because they're so close and they don't want the people to understand, they want to keep them confused. It's smoke and mirrors. That's what I believe. It's smoking. It just they come in and grabbing certain people up and have this different information out there for everybody talking about it, but the whole time they steady moving their agenda, and that's just a way of them uh, uh, deflecting the what's going on away from the real source of what they're doing.
Yes,
Like I
sir. And
said,
I
I
was
call it smoke and mirrors. Go ahead.
okay, excuse me, sir. Yes, sir. And I was kind of looking at it too, as you always talk about, is they end up destroying themselves. This is the royal
Oh,
family that's
right,
saying, hey, my brother needs to face justice. This is the royal family.
right,
And
exactly.
yeah, and so it's like they end up, at the end of the day, destroying themselves.
Exactly. It's too. If they see the heat coming on them, they rather get rid of one person than for all the heat to come on them and destroy the whole shebang. But that's how they operate. Like I was saying about the when you understand who these people are, they I mean like Queen they got you thinking that what her name Cleopatra was a black woman. They got this picture. They hoodwinked us way back in the day when we was in these all black schools and in the at the HBCUs. But quick Cleopatra was an Edomite. The 29th dynasty was Ptolemy, and she came out of that lineage. She was an Edomite, and then you go back and look at the history. They dressed like they try to do now. They dressing like Egyptians, but they Edomites. They white folks. And so that they right there they hiding a whole bunch of information from you because you thinking that Cleopatra was this dominant black woman that did all this and that. No, she was Edomite, and she wasn't that even that good to look at. And you go and you do your research and Google it and do your and search it out. So she had that big snaz, just like these Edomites got now, but they done told you that it's a black woman. Okay, so anyway, yeah. Anybody else got anything?
Yes, sir. Sorry for the feedback. Um, I'm going to say a few things about a lot that was said. So yesterday, during the class yesterday, on Prophets of Awakening, LeBron was mentioned and his comment about whatever player in Israel, in the land of Israel, that in the Levant right now. And before that, before yesterday's class, Brother Leonard, I was thinking about Nick Cannon and how almost 6 years ago now, maybe, he, on his own radio show or podcast, whatever it is, had made a comment about current Jews not being the real Jews and that Black people are, and whatever words he actually used. And I remember in less than 10 days, he came back and had this big apology. And it was then that I thought, oh, these people they really have a lot of power, that somebody could not have real integrity to stand on. I was very shocked because me, as I am right now, I can't say something and take it back if I believe what I said. Now, if I'm joking, I'm playing and I hurt your feelings, fine. And that's basically what he came back and looked like. And that LeBron clip that you played and you all discussed on the class yesterday, that's what it reminded me of. I just remember rather recently, what's this lady's name? Candace Owens, I think is her name. She
Right.
has a show and she interviewed Nick Cannon and she asked him specifically, why did you apologize? And he told her, it's just like sometimes you hurt people's feelings and you don't mean to. She said, but if you state facts, why do you apologize? And I have other thoughts about Candace Owens, but I will say she made him come out and basically let people know who was wondering, you went back because you had to. Because she blatantly said, he said, sometimes you apologize. She said, I never apologize. She said, I've said some things about homosexuals and transgenders and queers, and it's not an apology. It's a fact. I don't believe that that's normal. I believe it's a sin, and I'm not going to apologize for what's a fact. And Nick had nothing else to say. And I just thought, these Edomites, man, they something else. I didn't know you had that much power. I did not know until 2020. And so that LeBron clip you played, it made me think about that. And then with the Sister Cheryl, what was she asking about? The DNA. So I have two family members that did DNA testing. They're very close to me. They're literally my siblings. One is a female, my sister, and one is a male. So when I say I go back and I have, like, we did DNA testing, they did it. I've not done anything with my DNA. Long story short, when they say that you're connected to a certain group of people, it's in regards to where they live now. So that they will always say that any Israelite is African because all the Israelites, for the most part, most of them are in Africa. Like Brother Leonard's been teaching, good fig and bad fig. There's people that went to the west side or the west side of the world, and there's people who stayed on the west side of Africa. So whenever, even if you do yours right now, when any Israelite in America, Jamaica, wherever does their DNA, if you are an Israelite, it will call you African because that's where all the Israelites are. So they just call all of them over there African too. If anybody says, I know I'm an Israelite because I have Jewish DNA or mostly Jewish DNA, it basically proves they're an Edomite.
Exactly.
So that's why we did my brothers and my sisters, just to see what we get all together. And we don't have a whole bunch of things connecting us to the people in what we call the Levant or the Israel currently. But that was all. Shalom.
Okay.
Oh,
Anybody else got anything?
I'm so sorry, Sister Michelle. Thank you so much for sending me those pictures. I kid you not, just today, I found a gum tree. I thought that I was never going to see one of the gumball trees. I thought, okay, maybe that's just a South thing, but I found two. So thank you for sending me pictures of what they look like.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Shalom.
Yeah, so here we go right here. I'm gonna play this. This back to what I was saying about the smoke and mirrors. Now this is out there floating around. Like I say, it's all for a reason. Check it out. I don't know if anybody heard about this.
is a warning after a mass shooting occurred in the small community called Tumbler Ridge. The shooter has since been reportedly identified as a Jesse String. He identified as a trans woman and reportedly, after targeting some of his own family members, went to the Tumbler Ridge Secondary to target students. At least 9 victims have already died, 25 are injured. He himself is dead. And today I give you an interview with one of the parents who has 2 students who attended that school, one who has lost many friends, and another who hid in the closet with Jesse Strang's sibling to hide from the bullets.
On this Jesse Strange, and I say strange, character, according to the information that was received. Just what?
Town. A school day shattered by gunfire. 10 people are dead after a mass shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in British Columbia. Students evacuated, families grieving, and a community of 3,000 in shock. For Canada, this is more than tragedy. It's one of the deadliest school attacks in decades. A mass shooting at a high school in rural British Columbia has left 10 people dead, including the suspected shooter in one of Canada's deadliest school attacks in decades. Police responded to reports of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School on February 10th afternoon.
Okay, anybody heard of that?
No, sir.
Yeah, this like the third one. And now all of a sudden these transgenders going off. And notice where it's at. So like I said, this how he operate. It's smoke and mirrors. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I'll play this right here. I'm gonna play this right. Okay. Okay.
Family, Donald Trump, your president, went on a racist tirade at a Black History event at the White House. He couldn't help himself, man. Now, for the coconuts who were in the audience and those who were watching from afar, they didn't see it because that just goes to show you how brainwashed they are. But anytime somebody lied right in your face about the facts, you know they're lying. They know they're lying. They know you know they're lying, but they still lie anyway. Yeah, fam. This dude got called out by someone who was in attendance. Now, he gonna think, fam. He's at a Black History event, and he's bragging about all of the things that he does for Black people and he's done for Black people. And he talk about the things that Black people has done for the country. But he only mentions athletes and rappers and singers and stuff like that. He don't mention scholars and inventors and our lawyers, our attorneys, our builders, He don't mention any of our entrepreneurs. He only is talking about rap and Cardi B fingernails and all that silly shit, That's what he's talking about. That's what he talks about. You've done a lot, with rap and jazz, you got to claim that, So he's talking about, he goes to he got the nerve, this mother got the nerve to pop up at the White House for a Black History event. And he's rolling back civil rights legislation that has been in place for 60, 70 years. Okay. He's rolling back DEI that disproportionately affects Black people. How many people that is actually in his cabinet? He got one black person in his entire cabinet. One. But these D riders that he got, oh man, they just want to see, they just want him to look in that direction. Ooh, and don't mess around and let him hug or give him a kiss on them pedo with them pedo lips. And they act like that ain't going on. They act like he's not right now at the center of the biggest sex scandal in the history of the United States. The president of the United States accused of violating underage girls and threatening to kill them. Yeah.
32 counts.
But none of that matters. None of that matters. From jobs and economic mobility, education, HBCUs, criminal justice, prisons, healthcare. Say, fam, this dude ain't doing nothing. I mean, nothing to assist black people. Whatever he's doing, he ain't even doing nothing really to assist white people either. I want you white folks to understand, you're not safe either. You're not safe because if you was, they wouldn't, when they put those chemicals in that food, they would only be putting them in our food, but guess what? They're putting them in your foods too. They're putting them in your water supply too, and your liquid supplies too. Yeah, they're killing you too.
Okay, any feedback on that? What you think? Okay.
Shalom. I haven't heard about that one, but I know that they made a lot of facts about Clarence Thomas rolling back a lot of things when he came into his job position, and how he's still trying to block a lot of things that would happen for the blacks. He's one of those people who want to tear it down, the blacks, in any way he can, with his power, so-called, as the judge. If anyone heard about Clarence Thomas with his negativity against blacks.
I haven't. And okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play this, then we'll pick a scripture and we'll close out. Here we go.
Greetings to all Africans at home and across the global African family. Today is Tuesday, February 17th, 2020.
This is what I mean by smoke and mirrors. They don't want you to focus on this.
26, and this is United States of Africa TV. I am Akosua Prempe, broadcasting to you with a message that concerns not just one country, not just one border, but the future direction of our entire continent. Tonight, we examine a development that has sparked intense debate across Africa and beyond.
Check it out.
Reports confirm that United States military personnel have been deployed to Maiduguri in northeastern Nigeria, approximately 170 kilometers from the border with Niger Republic. Multiple military aircraft have reportedly landed, equipment has been offloaded, and American Special Forces units are said to be part of this operation. The official explanation given is counterterrorism cooperation and intelligence sharing. Nigeria has battled insurgent groups in the northeast for over a decade, and security cooperation between nations is not new. However, the timing, the scale, and the location of this deployment have raised strategic questions across the continent. Let us,
like I said, Black Wall Street,
examine this carefully and calmly. Maiduguri sits near the Lake Chad Basin, a region that has experienced insecurity for years. Yet this new development comes at a time when the geopolitical landscape of West Africa is shifting dramatically. Niger Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso, now operating under the Alliance of Sahel States, have expelled Western military forces and redefined their security partnerships. The United States previously maintained a major drone and intelligence base in Agadez, Niger, but that presence ended after political changes in the country. Now, less than 2 years later, American forces appear to be positioning themselves just across the border in northern Nigeria. Is this purely about security assistance? No. Or does it reflect a broader strategic repositioning in the Sahel region? To answer that question, we must widen our lens. Globally, competition for critical minerals is intensifying.
Hi, I'm Zach Cass, the former head of go-to-market.
Vast reserves of uranium, cobalt, lithium, gold, rare earth elements, oil, and gas. Resources essential for renewable energy technologies, artificial intelligence systems, electric vehicles, and advanced defense industries. As major powers compete for supply chains and industrial dominance, Africa's resource base has become central to global strategy. At the recent Munich Security Conference in Germany, Western leaders emphasized defense expansion and securing supply chains. European officials spoke about strengthening hard power. American leaders discussed building Western-controlled mineral supply networks. At the same time, China continues to dominate global rare earth processing and maintains extensive infrastructure partnerships across Africa. Russia has expanded security agreements in parts of the Sahel. This is not a Cold War. It is a strategic contest over influence, access, and leverage. While these conversations unfolded in Europe, the African Union convened its 39th ordinary session in Addis Ababa. African leaders adopted a landmark resolution declaring slavery, forced deportation, and colonialism crimes against humanity and acts of genocide against African people. They called for dignity, sovereignty, and economic transformation. The message was powerful. Africa must define its own future. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa warned against what he described as a new form of economic colonialism, exporting raw rock, soil, and dust, while value is added elsewhere. He called for processing minerals on African soil. The United Nations Secretary General echoed calls for reform in global governance, stating that Africa must have a stronger voice in international institutions. So here we stand. On one hand, Africa is calling for sovereignty, unity, and control of its resources. On the other hand, major global powers are increasing military and strategic engagement. Before I close, I want to speak directly to you, my brothers and sisters across the continent and in the diaspora. History is moving quickly. Decisions made today will shape the next 50 years. Africa must not sleep through another strategic turning point. We must analyze, debate, and demand transparency from our leaders. We must encourage continental coordination. We must support policies that build African processing industries, African security capacity, and African economic sovereignty. Now I want to hear from you.
Okay, so you see right here, this ain't in the news. Smoke and mirrors. Okay, so this is what it's all about. They're getting ready to do something over here. They have to, like I said, the same way that what they did in Oklahoma with the Oklahoma City bombing. As soon as we started progressing and coming out of our predicament, they show up. They have no other choice. They know our capabilities. They know who we are. Okay. Any feedback? Okay. Some say what's up, Cynthia. Yeah. Appreciate you coming in. Okay. So with that being said, nobody have anything. We're going to pick a scripture like we normally do at the end of the class, and we're going to read that scripture and break it down and talk about it. Anybody got a scripture or precept they want to bring out?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I'll read Micah chapter 6, sir, verse 8.
Okay.
Micah chapter 6, verse 8. He hath shown thee, O man, what is good, and what doeth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. That was Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
Okay, what you get out of that?
I really look at that as three core behaviors that as Israelites we should have
Right.
To honor the Lord of hosts. That's the way that we should be living life. But a lot of us do not, sir. But reading Micah today was one of my books that I was studying today. And when I got to that verse, I really looked at it like those are actually three core behaviors as Israelites that we should have.
Right. So he's when you look at that, Micah is a prophet, and just like with Jeremiah and Isaiah, Israel is in sin and they turn away from him, and then they acting as if the priests and the princes are acting as if they don't know what the Lord, what is required of the Lord. And so that verse you just read, Micah's reminding them what was required of the Lord. So if you go to Deuteronomy 10 and 12, it's going to tell you what is required. Can you read that?
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 10.
10 verse 12. That's the precept tied to that.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
There go the three pillars right there. And then it ain't about, it's about the sacrifices, but that comes first.
Yes, sir.
And that's what the problem is right now. Is that so?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So nobody have anything else, we're gonna say shalom everybody. And like I said, if you want to come in and participate in the class, you can call 337-802-0889, and we can send you the link where you can come in and you can engage. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I'll see everybody tomorrow for our men's advanced Bible study. The women can come in through YouTube. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel. And it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.